Who understands, let me rephrase that. Who is comfortable with the rebuttal process, or who can, let me just back this all up. Now, Chris Moore, your team does nothing but VA, right? Close to it, correct? Can you share with the class the proper order from beginning to when you order an appraisal to the appraiser goes out to turn time to when it comes back, and if it doesn't come back at value, go.
Well, if it doesn't come back at value,
that's not the beginning. Let's start with the beginning. Start with the order.
Okay, so the order, I mean, my processors do it. They go through Mercury. There was a time where we ordered our own VA appraisers, but now corporate does appraisals. Corporate does it for us. So kids order. I don't know what turn time is in most of the states, but in Texas, appraisals have 10 business days. If there's an issue with value, we'll get a notification, typically a week into it from the appraiser's office at Tidewater. If there is no,
what does Tidewater mean?
That means that they're having trouble coming up with competency.
Okay, continue.
So, assuming there is no Tidewater and it's value, then the appraisal will be made later. All goes.
Okay, so what if there is Tidewater?
So at that point, we have I guess you can call it a grid or whatever that we send over to the agents, and we have them complete that grid with the information that they used when they came up with, their listing price or whatever, and then we'll forward that over to the appraiser's office.
Okay. Now, how many people know Chris Moore? Raise your hand. Okay. How many know?
I know Chris played best.
Right? How many know he's considered to be one of the most respected VA LOs in this company? Correct? Right? If you don't know, he is considered to be one of the most experienced and respected VA loan officers in this company. Now, he was just explaining that to a group of agents, who's one of our most senior men, right? He's about 35% on point. Okay? And it's not because he doesn't know what he's doing. It's because the training in this industry is Cliff Notes best, right? So as teacher, I'm going to teach you how to present this to a group of agents with laser precision. Okay? So now if he's asked me, here's how it goes. Legit. So pay attention, get your pens ready. Okay? The VA is the only product that allows you a chance to get your value back if it comes in short. Conventional and FHA do not have this process. The VA is the only one that provides two rebuttal processes. Okay? The first one is called Tidewater, the second one is called reconsideration value. So here's what happens in the beginning. And this is what sets Benchmark aside from every other lender. So pay attention to this. Here's your bullets in your belt, right? It starts with the initial appraisal order, okay? Does anybody know what the VA's take is on the appraisal order? Like, who does the appraiser have to contact? Who does it say they got to contact? Anyone? The point of contact. You paid attention in class, didn't you? Cheater. Just kidding. She remembers from San Angelo. According to the VA, the only person the appraiser needs to reach out to is whoever the point of contact is on the appraisal order. Do you know who most lenders put on there? Do you know who's the point of contact in most cases? Who lets you in the property? Is that who we need to contact? Absolutely not. Right? So at Benchmark, when we order the appraisals, we have an appraisal team. That's all they do, is appraisal. And they put in the notes, okay? Point of contact for entry to property, listing agent. If you can't get a hold of said agent, you must contact Benchmark. Anything to do with Tidewater or value, must contact Benchmark. Okay? That goes into the VA portal. which can be seen by the SARs, okay? On their scorecard, there's notes. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. All right? That gives us an edge right off the bat to hold the VA appraiser accountable. Okay? Now, so that part happens. That's step one. That separates us from all other lenders. Because we do little things better than other people. It makes us a champion. Then Chris was right. Now we have a turn test. So the appraisal gets ordered. Okay? And you can say, well, the turn time in Texas is 10 days. But stop. Okay? Most people, unless you were at the lending conference, would know how important this is to the VA, that once you order the appraisal, when is that appraiser supposed to accept and make the appointment within? What time frame? Do you remember? 48 hours. Write it down. But if you don't know, how can you hold them accountable? We know. We have an appraisal team that does. Okay? And that's calendar hours. So what does that mean? If we order today, what's today? Right. When does that appraiser have to accept it and call for it to make the appointment by? Sunday. Okay? But watch this. The turn time for the 10 business days doesn't start until after that, right? So they have the 48 hours to accept it and make the appointment. Then, once the appointment is made, the 10 days starts. Okay? So, what could happen? Maybe they don't get a hold of anybody, right? Well, a normal lender didn't put any notes in there for the point of contact. We do. If you can't reach the point of contact for entry to the property, must contact Benchmark. That means our girls back at corporate are now on the phone blowing everybody up. Hey, they're not answering. I don't want to hear anybody bitch about turn time because we're doing our due diligence, right? This doesn't happen at other lenders. This is why in West Texas you hear nothing but people bitching about the turn time for VA appraisals because nobody is holding them accountable because they don't know the process. So the 48 hours goes by. So if I order today on Friday, when is my first business day? Monday, right? 5 days goes by, then I have what? A weekend. Then I have another 5 days. Then I have a weekend, and then that's my business day due. So calendar days, how many weeks am I looking at? Pretty much. 2.5, right? So you can see where agents have the perception that that's a bunch of garbage. It ain't no 10 days, it's 3 weeks, right? Do they feel like that, yes or no? Yes. Because they don't know. When you explain it to them as a teacher, like that, Chris, now they know. Now they're no longer upset. People only get upset when they don't know. When they know what to expect, they don't care. So, now we have this set. The appraiser goes out to the property. They do the inspection. And they come back home. And guess what? They can't find any comps or data to support your value. At that point in time, they must, it's not a suggestion, must initiate title in the VA portal. Okay? When that happens, you have 48 hours. When I say you, I mean all parties involved. Okay? But what do other lenders do? What did their appraisal order say? Who's the point of contact? So if this was another lender like a USAA or Navy Fed, and there's a Tidewater alert, who's the agent reaching, or who's the appraiser reaching out to? The agent. And let's say that's a Friday at 5 o'clock. What are real estate agents doing at Friday at 5 o'clock? Or showing houses. They're probably, loan officers are drinking wine at that time. Agents, that's when people go looking for houses, people. In the evenings and weekends. That's when agents work. So chances are that agent might not answer the phone until when? Sunday, or or late in the day Saturday. And if they answer their voicemail late in the day Saturday, do they think an appraiser's working? So when do they wait to call? What has passed since then? Exactly. See the problem? This is how it happens. But because we are the VA experts, and if you don't know how to explain this as the teacher, and you can't get your point across, then you just become like the next guy. Are we the next guy? No, we're not. All right, apart from our language. We are not. We are champions. We're going to get out there and do it the right way. So we tell them, look, on our appraisal order, this is what makes us different. Is when that Tidewater alert goes, the appraiser has to contact us. If they don't, guess what we have in our back pocket to show the Regional Loan Center? Hey, I got notes right here on my order. It's scanned into the VA portal. They didn't call me, right? We can back it up. Now, during this phase of Tidewater, they go out and they do the inspection. They don't have data to support the comps, okay? What is the first knee-jerk reaction a real estate agent has when an appraiser says, sorry, I can't hit your listing. I can't hit your purchase price. Stupid appraising, right? How many of you have real estate partners, I don't believe this or not, that think their shit doesn't stink? Okay? Okay? And they say, oh my gosh, these appraisers, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know about this value. An appraisal's just an opinion. Who's ever heard that before? You know what my response is to that? Unlike your listing, which by the way, happens to be emotionally driven from your seller and commission-based driven from you, lady, right? But by the way, hey, the appraiser doesn't know your seller. And by the way, there's no commission. They get paid either way. They're literally showing up like a CSI agent on a crime scene and looking at this thing called the facts. I know it's crazy, right? Here's comp 1, comp 2. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and 1,500 square feet, and worth $165. Yours is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, and you want $200,000. I don't understand, right? So when you go out there, at this point, there's no value on the appraisal, okay? At this point in time, we can help influence the value. This is where we need to work together as a team. And as the teacher, Chris, this is where you tell your agents, hey, we can come together for the common good of the final goal, which is to get to the closing table, right? Now, if you listed your house properly, it shouldn't be an issue giving me 3 comps now, should it? Why is it so hard? Okay? Influence value is a no-no in our industry, correct? Are we supposed to be able to call appraisers to influence value? Why is it okay here? But why? Why do they say it's okay here in Tidewater, but not okay here?
Because it's not been issued yet.
What hasn't been issued? The value. Write it down. There's no value yet. The reason you can get involved here is because there is no number. Once there's an actual number placed on your report, now you can't talk to the appraiser anymore about value. The only person that can is the, which is called a SAR. Okay? So let me just kind of talk about this right here. That's phase 1. Phase 1, they go out, they do the report. They can't come up with a value because they can't reach your purchase price. They initiate the Tidewater alert and say we need 48 hours to come up with 3 comps. Now let's talk about these comps. If you're going to produce comps, you need to know 2 things. Number 1, write it down. Your comps have to be prior to the date of the appraisal. Same thing, appraisal report. When they actually go inspect the property, okay?
It just means you can't have, like, if he issued the value today, you can't pull a comp tomorrow.
Okay, here's the, well, it's not issue, it's from when they actually go do the inspection.
Right.
So if they go, the date they actually walk through the property, fair enough, okay? So today is what, the 28th? Right? Class?
Yes.
Yeah.
All comps must be from the 27 and before. Alright? Number 2, your comps have to be closer and or better. Go figure. How many people deal with agents like this? Right? Like, oh my God. Well, I have a comp that's like within a mile, so they have 4 within 3 blocks.
But how do we know closer and better if we don't have
Okay.
it?
That's a great question. You don't know, right? Because in this phase, you don't get to see the report. So what they're telling you is, hey, if all things being equal, it's a level playing field, they're telling you, prove to me your value exists. Now, let's talk about builders, because this is that chicken or the egg conversation we have. What does every builder want every time they sell a new home?
Value.
20%
More
above
value. Say that again.
20% above the actual.
20% more than last time, right? Just because things cost more, builders think in their head that means their house is worth more. Is it? I don't think so, right? The best way I've explained this to people is, look, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, where they have Ford, GM, and Chrysler. And if I was to drive a $62,000 Tahoe down the street for 8 miles, it's now worth $56,000. Was it really worth 62 in the first place? No. But what am I going to do about it? That's the sticker price. I got to pay for it. Just because someone is willing to pay the price doesn't mean it's worth what they paid for it. It means you're a good salesperson. Right? Or they're not an engineer. One of the two. So the hard part becomes to a builder when you're trying to court builders and they have this chip on their shoulder about the VA appraisal. How do you overcome this 800-pound gorilla in the room? Right? Stuart, tell them how we did it.
I mean, listen, because we'll beat this drum pretty good on this appraisal. I mean, you know, I think the two things is that number one, we have an alert and we have the ability to jump into a situation and try to rectify it. Everybody agree with that? If we can't, then we can get into this kind of conversation of, hey, you know, maybe in fact it's too high. With a builder, what you see happen is just every builder that you will ever work with that is in any level of production, if they're starting a new subdivision out, their whole goal is they want to get production going. So they're going to be at a price, call it A, okay? And then quickly, as soon as they can, they're going to move that to, call it door number 2, which would be option B, which is really the price point that they wanted to begin with, okay? And so what happens is that they're on an escalator that looks like this versus an escalator that looks like that, right? And so they're really their own worst enemy because their whole model is this. And the truth really is that what they believe is that if they can stay committed, because they do, usually they have a big subdivision in phase 1, 2, and 3, is that as that goes, is that they're going to be able to go increase price, right? So the rub becomes like this, is that whoever, like at the beginning, usually it's okay. Because I mean, they're going to kind of go. It's usually that one middle section where everybody just gets flat. And that's because they don't have the comps there that they're trying to go to. So they have pre-sales is what they have. They have somebody that's on contract that agrees, but they don't have them closed yet. Everybody been through this? Okay. So the issue, just follow this, is really not the VA appraisal as much as it is the appraisal. And I think the first thing that we did when we're talking to builders is we say, well, did you have any other problems with any other appraisals? And when they start to really think about it, the answer is they kind of do. And so I don't know why they get so emotionally stuck with that one VA that they did, but I think it's because they never thought that there was a way to go rectify it, and that's what we started to kind of uncover. And here's where I'm going. So one of the things that we pitched, again, this was strategy, is that we said, you know what because there's nothing that prevents what I'm about to tell you to do, is that why couldn't we find, or let me say it better, we all know who the VA appraisers are gonna, you can go look, and if you're doing any production, you can see who's doing your appraisals, right? So why can't we?
Now, hang on one second.
Go ahead.
If you don't know this, you know who you can contact? Say it loud. Our appraisal team, they will tell you who the appraiser is. Go ahead.
So, I mean, I got two thoughts for you. One is that whether you're doing builders or not, I will become familiar with who my appraisers are in my zip code or my community, okay? Number two is that there's nothing that prevents you from communicating or talking to them. What is prevented is talking to them about value, okay? There's nothing that says you couldn't go and do a hangout or do something like this when you invited all those VA appraisers in, and you say, hey, help me better understand how to better work with you. And you start to create a better relationship. What I can guarantee you is there's no other lender that's using that strategy right there. And you gotta believe this, is that if you become more acquainted with what their wants, needs, and desires are, and then you have a platform, I bet you the next time that we're sending in an appraisal, they're going to be more apt to go work with us. And if they know where your heart is on this, and they know that you're trying to be a VA advocate versus just that another reporter that comes in, I think we get an accelerator on that. I think we get a gain on it. So again, it's not something that we've done, but I feel like we don't have anything to lose. And when it comes to the builder, one of the things that we kind of developed as far as strategy goes with the builders, that when they're walking into it, is that we were going to start inviting those types of appraisers into that community to meet the builder, to understand the product, and understand that, you know what, this is really what a builder's trying to do. So help us figure out this little section when it goes from year to year. And what we feel like is that they become better educated again about what we're all trying to accomplish, they're going to be more apt to work with us. When we said that, let me just put it this way, they didn't have any more arguments about appraisals anymore, because all of a sudden they started to see that there could be a better angle that they had never used before, and what did they have to lose again? So, I mean, I think more to come, but I like this idea of hosting VA appraisers wherever you fall kind of in this category. Just let's get more friendly with them with this attitude that we want to work with you versus against you.
What about follow-up? I don't know how compensation or anything like that does. I know what it's like for getting leads or anything like that. If you get an appraiser that comes in, brings you home at a value, you know, either loan or anything else, just follow up with some type of gift. You know, just kind of
Keep going. Thank you.
Just because
Hold on.
Underwriter?
well,
Right.
I'm just saying because when we started off,
We'll start sending them gifts.
No,
Okay.
I'm just
That
saying,
doesn't
like,
look good.
when we first started off with the appraisal part, we started talking about the front end of things and reaching out to the appraisers, and they were just like, they will not talk to us. There's absolutely no way they can go talk to us. They're mean about it. They won't do anything else. So, we started trying to figure out some way to get to these guys.
If they are, I mean, we're proving this in several markets right now, where we're having kind of a rub or something, we're way off track now.
Right.
But we can get their attention, and they do take us. They do like to be, and they like to be have a seat at the table. So for sure, we're able to accomplish that. You don't have to send them anything.
So let me bring this back in. So I've been doing this a long time, right? Right? Okay. When I never thought that. When he said that, when Stuart goes, why aren't we asking them like in a round table setting, how can we get better? Because think about it, LOs. How did you learn how to stroke an underwriter? Hey, can you help me? Like, you're so smart. Like, tell me how great you are. How would you do this, right? Why can't that work for appraisers? Why wouldn't we do that?
I think it actually would work better, to be honest with you.
I know.
Look, especially when you get to the VA category, nobody shows people any love. I mean,
Nobody. Everybody hates on
and I think this is one of those strategies where you just take home right now and you just go, look, I mean, here's who I am. I'm Sally Buchero. I'm in this market. This is what I've kind of built, you know, my whole mantle around is serving veterans. You know what? We work together all the time. We don't know each other. Tell me how to work better with you.
And watch this.
I mean, how can we not win with that?
And watch this. This isn't just a Sally and appraiser sit-down meeting. It's a, hey, I have my builder here. I have my realtor there at the builder's model, and we have a round table. And we're coming together for the good of the community, for the value. I mean, how is anyone going to think you're trying to grease the appraiser?
And some of them are veterans.
Right. They are.
But once they understand, I'm just telling you, it's just like anything. I mean, once somebody understands, I mean, I promise you, no veteran, no VA appraiser has ever gone to a subdivision and understood what's about to happen, and understood that there's 3 phases, and there's going to be 1,200 homes built here, and they're going to be in this series, and this is kind of what we're doing. And as soon as somebody's like, hey, I didn't know that. Okay, well now you do. Now, is that easier that when we get up there? But can you help me find value here? Versus, because what's going to happen is that if you don't help me find value, they're going to take this home away from that person, or they're going to make them come up with the difference, and they're going to sell it to somebody else. That's the consequences that we're dealing with. So can you help me overcome that? The last thought was that I just really got down to like, okay, you're doing 1,200 homes. We kind of really want to partner with you. You know, the real truth is that when this really, really happens, it's not that often. It really is not. The percentages are so low. So how about this? I'll just guarantee you this. When we get really cut, I'll split it with you. Now, can we get over the subject, keep moving? And I mean, they were like, okay, yes, totally over with now, you know? I mean, I'll take that gamble all day long. I think you would too. But we're going to get that many houses. You know, like, okay, let's say that it gets cut 10 grand. 3 of them, that's $30,000 for all that production, and I'll split that with you, so for $15,000, okay, where do you want me to agree to that? I'll write you a blank check for that, right? I mean, that's crazy, we wouldn't do that, and they would too. So it's just, I just think it's about reframing some of these obstacles, and I think the last thing is you kind of pick this up is if you feel like you hit the wall there, again, you've got Jay, you've got me, hey, can I run something by you, maybe we can think through it differently. And all of a sudden we can position ourselves to kind of keep moving. Keep going.
So watch this.
So what's the film really quick? Anyone have a drawing yet?
Who's not gone? Raise your hand. Bob, go. Bobby. I call him Bobby. That's right, Danny.
All right, good.
Okay. So. All right. To his point, the reason the builders feel like this because they didn't know they could go any further. Why didn't they know they could go any further when you're their trusted advisor? Because even one of our most senior dudes didn't know we could go further or exactly how to do so. So as the teacher, now you know. Well, guess what? You don't know what you don't know. So we say, look, before, who knew we could do Tidewater? Right? Who didn't know after Tidewater there was really another option? Raise your hand. Exactly. And you just flat out told me, Kevin, all I do is VA home loan. So people would think you're an expert, right? But even our experts didn't know there was a step 2. You see? As a teacher, you've got to know. So we go through, they initiate Tidewater, we get 48 hours to get 3 comps. We now know our comps have to be prior to the date of the, hold on, I got to keep moving. Got to be prior to the date of the appraisal being done, and I got to be closer and better on comps. So, phase 2 is, now, I'm the appraiser. I've issued Tidewater. Challenge. I've issued you. I've challenged your purchase price value. Challenge accepted. I need something back. A, I need comps that support the purchase price. The appraiser is saying, hey, I need apples to apples comps. Well, if you're a good agent, you're going to be like, apples? I got apples. Granny Smith, Macintosh. Green, which one do you want? Right? Does that happen very often? No. Really, here's what happens. I need apples to apples. Well, I have a pumpkin squash. Right? Who's seen that in your comps? You list a ranch, but you're getting duplexes and 2-story houses and all kinds of stuff. So I'm either going to get comps that support the purchase price. If I do, great, problem solved, get you value. Comps that don't support the purchase price, or I'm just going to get no response from these agents. Like over the weekend, that 48-hour thing we were talking about. Either way, at the end of 48 hours, this appraiser has to put a value on it for the VA. So 48 hours comes back. And let's say what happened was the pumpkin squash and banana. You listed this thing at $200,000. You submitted me a pumpkin squash and a banana for comps. When I asked for apples to apples, I don't think so. 180. Boom. Once there's a value, Tidewater's over. Write it down. Once there's a value, the Tidewater phase is over.
I want to read this email I just got from Jim Pullen because it's...
Man, you stole my thunder.
No, this actually goes exactly with this and exactly...
I know, you stole my thunder. I was going to read that email. That's why I brought us over
That's
here.
exactly what Stuart's saying about
Oh,
building
yeah.
relationships with the realtors and reconsideration value. So we had Tidewater got enacted. We sent a comp. Somebody sent a comp back to this appraiser. The appraiser responds back because of a relationship that obviously Dave Jackson has built with this builder and the appraisers. The appraiser says this one sale is not going to make any difference in the current appraisal. The builder has had 11 closed sales in the subdivision the past 7 months. How about getting them to provide some additional sales and not the MLS to help with the appraisal? We raised the value of $13,000 because that appraiser reached back out to us and said, hey, this guy's got more sales here, for God's sakes, but don't give me this one piece of crap, give me more.
Right. So they didn't know that. Now, the email prior to that one, the email prior to that email came before the lunch break from David Jackson. This was before Poulin got involved and got all the credit, right? So, now you love how that works? David Jackson sent over this email. Man, this is great. This is the second one out of Houston. That builder that we sat in front of, literally, that man told, hey man, we can actually get you some value back. Write this down. Here's the key. You don't have to get full value to win. We got him 13 grand back. It was enough to close the gap, but it didn't get us the full value, right? They don't necessarily, like you said, they're just trying to get you a number. That was where the win was. This is the second one in 2 weeks. And they haven't had one, and they've never done this because they didn't know. Now all of a sudden we look like freaking rock stars because we're getting value back.
And to me, like again, I love the conversation we ended up having with this builder because they were kind of southern and they're a patriotic company, they want to help, but yet internalized that this was their rub. Their rub was that we're getting cut off back. And I just never forget when we decided, hey, look, we'll partner with you on this rub. Right? So you don't have to bear this up by yourself. We'll try to get it reconsidered, we'll try to get it moved up, and then worst case is, what if we just work it out together? And I mean, I'm telling you, it turned the whole tire of that whole conversation to where they wanted to go champion these deals, they wanted to stay in. I just don't think that a builder like that wants to be by themselves in that situation. They feel like they got kind of a gun to their head, and they, and then all of a sudden it's up to them. And that's why I want you to start kind of thinking more partnership. And we can make a lot of these deals happen if we think a little bit differently. Here would be the last thing I would say to this, okay? Go back to that builder, go back to that conversation, is that just seeing the effort that we did, and just the fact, like what Jay's saying, of us getting back a little bit more value, they had never had that happen in their whole, they'd never just seen that effort. And that's all they wanted to see was just that, okay, what you're saying is you're in this place. Yes. And they don't care how that's interpreted. It's just the fact that you know how to do this or you know how to communicate this. It is a big deal.
Here's the thing. They wanted a teammate, right? This is what the big picture of this whole entire thing is. There's no builders out there now, except for the one we're talking to, that are being veteran-friendly builders, right? So if I'm a veteran, now I might even learn from you guys. I have a VA home loan benefit, right? I get a Jason Steyer that tells me, hey, I'm eligible, qualified, let's go out there and buy a home. As a veteran, are you thinking I can do new construction? Or I'm probably, because if I tell my real estate agent, hey, well, what about I want to build a home? What's that realtor going to tell me? Be honest. Why? No, but what do you think? Who's got the biggest problem with appraisal? Who's got the biggest chip on it? The builders, right? Remember I said, when the realtor said, it's just an opinion? And I said, so is your listing, but it's driven by the emotions of the seller and commission based from you? Well, guess what? A builder's bold. It's emotional to them because it's theirs, they built it, and it's commission based. You get a double whammy on them. They told him, right? 80% of my business comes from real estate agents. And if 80% of the people that feed me are afraid to bring me a veteran because they tell that veteran, hey, that builder's going to shit can this appraisal, Or they say no to VA because they're afraid of it getting shit canned. As a veteran, do I even look at builders?
When we have them, I understand what he just said. Let me say it one more time. So for your builders are in business to sell homes, right? Okay. So if they're usually most builders are horrible marketers. So they may have a sales team, but what they're really relying on is a real estate agent out there to really bring that client to them. Do you know that?
So let's put it this way, right?
So our whole thing is we went down this, and I think we're kind of doing this a little bit justice because I almost wish I could unpack it the way that we went about it. But when we got them to understand that, number one, all builders basically are viewing VA the way that they are, and that you're in that same camp. And if I could just pick you up and move you over here, all of a sudden you cut yourself out of the herd. They kind of got that. Like, in other words, stop being in this box that everybody else is in. What if you could come out of and move over here? Okay, we're listening. Okay, number two, your sales team that you have in all these model homes, what if they were just equipped with some real basic stuff where if a veteran or someone that was first responder kind of subject matter walked in there, that they were equipped with how to identify and communicate with them? Where we were going with the salesperson is that isn't it in fact their job to connect with somebody so that they can try to sell them their product? And they were like, yeah, that's exactly what they do. So what we're saying is that look, if you don't even know how to identify this segment of the market, then tell me how they connect with them. And they were like, you're right, they can. So what if we could equip them with that? And we went through these three real basic questions. Well, so when we kind of went through that, we go, what if we taught your sales team that? And they were like, oh my gosh, that would really be big. Because again, what if the person's already walking in the model home and your salesperson, if they just knew how to identify, connect, that would they have a better shot at closing that deal? And they could not argue the fact that, yeah, I guess it would be. Okay. And then when you really get down to, but who sells your home? And then when they said the magic thing of, well, 80% of our homes are sold by realtors, I mean, I was like fall out of my chair. And I was like, well, what if they knew that message? Like, think about all the walk of humanity that comes in there and all the builders that they might represent. If you could move yourself out and all of a sudden you were the champion home builder for all veterans, you think every time they got a veteran, they would feel way more comfortable bringing that veteran over to your community than somebody else, and they were like, yes. And I was like, do you know how easy this would be to do this? I mean, you got to get us with your sales team, and we got to be able to communicate the message to your real estate agents. And I said, and just that alone, you're going to move the needle. There's no way you won't move the needle. And then you got to get over all this appraisal stuff. I mean, do you want buyers, or do you want to sit here and just get stuck on this one thing that you can't let go of because it was $10,000? And when we start going through kind of that arithmetic of just, a little bit of a lift here, a little bit of lift there, because they're really, what do they pay to go communicate that message? Nothing. So they just get more of something that they weren't getting. And when they got that message, I'm just telling you, you can see it happening like electricity happening in that room. And here's the one thing I would tell you. I don't, like if you start to have success in this, I don't want you to just have to go rely on yourself. I mean, I'm happy, Jay's happy, that if you'll reach out and like, let me kind of get you prepped. Let me walk you through what one of those meetings might be. But more importantly, I mean, if we needed to go show up at one of those, we will. I'll be there. I mean, it just depends on who the builder is. I mean, we've got to kind of make it, we've got to maximize and monetize me too. But I just cannot express enough that could be a way. You don't even have to even go to the high level of the builder. What if you just started a conversation with a salesperson, right? And all of a sudden that salesperson, we just started to equip them with how to identify a builder better. So any salesperson for any builder, I mean, I keep thinking of all these builders that we work with, if we can help their sales team just get a little bit better with just identifying and communicating with a veteran, would that be a victory? And if we're your go-to on that lender every single time on the veteran, we'll help get through all the stuff. That's what we're moving the needle right now on builders.
All right. So, for lack of better words, if I'm a builder and I got 80% of my business is being fed to me from real estate agents, right now that 80% of people, when they have veteran clients, so let's say that 80% of realtors, 20% of their business is veterans. That 20%, here's a store that I'm going to take this person shopping, but this store's closed because they're a builder, right? Now, I'm a veteran friend and builder. Hey, this store's open. I can take my client. See what I'm saying? Okay. So what we've now, if now I've explained everything to the agent, here's how Tidewater works. Once there's a value, is Tidewater over? Yes. So for the next 6 months, here's what has to happen. The appraiser is going to send that appraisal over to the lender. At the lender, there's a SAR, like this gentleman right here with the laser button on it. Okay? SAR stands for what, people?
Special appraisal reviewer.
Special appraisal reviewer?
Staff.
Staff appraisal reviewer, right? Write it down if you don't know. Staff appraisal reviewer. Every SAR is a VA underwriter. Not every VA underwriter is a SAR. Okay? Here is where the appraisal department stops. We've made a new implementation here. Okay? At this point, our SAR jumps in. Okay? The appraisal department handles Tidewater. But now, once it comes to value, it's going to be the SAR that jumps in. Okay? There's a SAR of the lender, and there's a SAR of the VA. The SAR of the VA is equal rank on the collar to the VA appraiser, so much so they can grant back 15% of the value in the form of a desk review. If it exceeds 15%, then they have to actually go out and do a field review, and you can probably count on your hands when that ever happens, right? So what happens is the SAR of the lender has to enter in what's called the notice of value, the NOV. Write that down. It's very, very important. Once the official NOV is entered into the VA portal, that is the value that is attached to the subject property and the borrower for 6 months. Write it down, 6 months. But you still have one more chance to increase that value, okay? The SAR is going to request in writing, I want to do a reconsideration of value. Now what Chris said was like, okay, I think we get this agent to possibly do a grid thing or whatever, and okay, so let's stop right there. How excited is your agent? Right? What should we know how to do? Sally? Exactly. We should know how to do reconsideration of value. We have a form for it, correct? Did anybody know that? One person. Let's get some more and put it on Benchmark Mastermind, reconsideration of value form. Okay? See what's happening here? You don't know what you don't know until we get down into the trenches and figure this stuff out. Best way for you to learn is start teaching to other people. Because you're like, oh, well, I guess I really didn't know how to tell you to do that by numbers. The whole point is so that you can walk out of here and tell a group of people from A to Z, point, how to do it. Now, I know we just crammed a bunch down your throat. I hate that, okay? And that you're only going to retain a certain portion of it. But that's why I'm here for follow-up, right? Is to help keep grooming you.
So, okay, intersection right here. So, anytime in his past life when he would ever do one of these, he'd come in here, do this, and he'd leave. That's what would happen. You don't understand. He is on staff. As your teammate. I mean, for Pete's sakes, if you start going through this and you're like, man, I don't know what he said there. You got to pick the phone up and call him. Scott Schubert called me, how long ago was that? 3 weeks ago, about what?
We were talking about other stuff that just came up. We lost.
You were losing.
Well,
No, it was lost.
in the initial stages, they got the Navy Fed, she was 3.75, this, that. We were in fours, and I'd already overcome all those objections, and everything was going fine. Had the appraisal done, we're through the whole thing, and out of the blue, come in Monday morning, thank you for your time, we no longer need your service. And I'm calling my production partner, what the hell just happened to the Thompsons? And he's like, I told you, nothing bad happened, nothing this, nothing that. So they were payment sensitive, this, that, and the other, so they went back to Navy Fed, and basically just looked up their terms again, and started going back. So Stu and I were talking about something different, and I just happened to mention it. Yeah, I just lost one, this, that, and the other. And he's like, I don't want to lose that. Got to have fun.
I mean, without going through all the details, the bottom line is it like, you know, my thing to Scott, did you call Jay? No. Okay, well, let's get Jay involved right now. And Jay was able to get a hold of that client, reconnect with him in a different way than maybe Scott was able to do. Communicate and get value, and then y'all close today?
We closed it at.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Round
Good job.
it's one of
of
those
applause for
things
that.
it's a resource. You know, when you picture that Jay is not just this person up there, but I mean, Jay is for sure to help you be better in VA. And that means teaching, that means communicating with your bar, and that means saving a deal if we need to. That's what I love. I mean, you know, I think it keeps evolving here, but that's got to be your resource until you get to a level to where, you know, you feel like you sustain yourself.
I just want to put in a plug for Jay, because it's not every time I've called you have you answered, but you've always called me back, and there have been many times that you have answered. And I see you on Mastermind, and you're all over the place, so kudos to you.
Thank you. So that's one of the things that we're, we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow. Because who is in Benchmark Mastermind? Okay? Now, who actively uses Benchmark Mastermind? You're liars. You're liars. There's cobwebs on that thing. If it wasn't for me and Brandon Stinson, that thing would be a ghost town. Dude, I'm telling you that right now. Y'all suck at getting on it. You need to get better. Mastermind? Who's masterminding when it's a ghost town? There's like 6 of you that even log into it. I'm being dead serious. What did we just do, Garrett? We scrolled through to find a video. 90% of them were who? Go look at it right now. Right? Do it in your break afterwards. I'm telling you. How can you be masterminding if you guys aren't talking to each other? Right? Teams communicate. There isn't a SEAL team or a recon team or a ranger team that doesn't communicate with each other. Right? You gotta communicate. You gotta share your success stories. You gotta show what's working. For Christ's sakes, Lauren posts more in there than anybody else. It's the Lauren Mill show.
But, all right, wrap this up.
Okay. Here's what we're doing. Wrap this up. Yes.
The NOV is attached to the veteran's Social Security number for
Yes.
6 months, and the property.
Yes.
Let's say it was
Not the
new
property.
construction.
It is
It's not the
It
property.
only goes to the veteran.
It is the veteran. It is that property, so that they can't order a same one on the same property. But when you get a new veteran, you get a new appraisal that
Okay.
goes
The
to it.
veteran pays for the grant for the animal.
Okay.
But what it's trying,
Change lenders and stuff.
the reason why it's attached to both is so that you can't go, well, hey, we're going to decline this, and then we're going to re-app it, and then reorder a different appraisal on the same property. That's why it's attached to both. Okay? So what happens is that the SAR does the ROB, and they say, look, okay, it was listed at $200,000. The appraisal came in at $180,000. I agree with the appraiser. It's not worth $200,000. However, I feel it is higher than $180,000. I noticed some mistakes in the adjustments. Okay? This is typically where you get value back, is in reconsideration of value. Because if I couldn't get value back with comps over here, what are the chances I'm going to get it with over here? But the reason you get it with over here is because, think about it. Does anybody know an appraiser personally? Anyone? Right? You ever seen their home office? I mean, they're not doing 3 files a week. They're doing 30, 40 files a week, right? There's 2 agents, a loan officer, a borrower, possibly a builder. Everyone and their grandmother wants to know what the value is. They're constantly bugging them. And they're working from home, and they got their kids and the dog running around. They got their mouths, they're cut, paste, click on a grid. Right? We use this Excel spreadsheet. What happens when you put a figure in a column and hit sum total and that figure's wrong? What happens to the total? Right? This is real talk, people. This is why sometimes, but if you don't know your craft and you're not knowledgeable and you don't know how it works, how can you challenge? The reason everyone has a perception about this is because no one knew you could challenge it. Now you know. Now you don't have an excuse. So David, who says, hey, I don't think it's worth 200, but I also think it's worth more than 180. It's 190. Or like this particular one we did with David Jackson. We got it back up to 290. We got 13 grand back. But did we get the whole 20? No. But because we closed the gap from a $20,000 gap with that builder, and got 13, there was only a $7,000 gap now. They were able to make the deal. You don't have to get full value back to win. All right? We're going to finish and we're going to close out with Lauren right here.
Jay, on that, you have to ask for the dollar amount, right?
Yes, you have to ask for a specific dollar amount. Go ahead.